Hi boys and girls! Today we are going to draw a seascape. So you're going to draw different types of coral, which we just learned about. So think about it, that lives in that first layer, or the sunlit layer of the ocean. You're not going to draw things that live below the sunlit zone. So you're only drawing plants, and animals, coral, that lives below the water. You are not going to draw a fish, because we are going to print make different types of fish. So I have like stingrays, and I think 2 other different types of fish that you will print, and then you will glue on here. So today we're just going to focus on making our sea, or our coral reef. You will have some different papers and pictures that you can look at of examples for you to draw some coral, and I would suggest that you turn your paper landscape way so you have more space to draw different types of coral. So first you're going to draw on your sloppy copy. This is your sketch to figure out what you are going to draw. So I'm just going to draw some coral on here. Okay, so I have my sloppy copy. Now I'm going to transfer that onto my final copy, taking my time more now because I know what I'm doing. Since I have my plan for my sketch, I'm going to draw this again. I'm drawing things in my background first. Might have been smarter for me to do things in my foreground first. Okay, all drawn in pencil. Now it's time for me to outline in Sharpie. Next step is to erase those pencil lines. You don't want those showing on your final copy when we paint it in or color it in. Now I'm going to color this in with my crayons, pressing hard, because we're going to do a watercolor resist like we've done in the past. Now this is all colored in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tap this to make sure that there aren't any little crayon shavings on there, and I'm going to paint it in. So you have your paint here, your temper cakes. If it is dirty and it's a color you want to use, what you can do is dip your paintbrush into the water, wipe off your brush, and you can get some of that dirty color by rubbing it off on your paintbrush and then dipping it back in your cup, swirling it around, wiping it off, washing it so that you can use it for the next color. So if my yellow is dirty, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of the paint from the water from my paintbrush, wipe it off of there, and clean it off in the cup. Then I can clean it off some more, or maybe it's clean enough now that I want to use it. But you got to make sure that you're washing it off in the cup in between, or else you're not going to be cleaning it off. Okay, so you're going to be painting your sea different colors. So you have violet that you can use, blue, and a darker blue that you can use. So you're going to paint it in. If you accidentally get some paint where you colored, no big deal, because you colored hard enough. So it should be resisting the area where you colored hard, because wax and water don't get along very well. They try to avoid each other. So if you get some paint on the wax, it's not going to have the paper beneath it to soak into, because the wax of the crayon is already covering it. Now I'm going to make sure this is still wet, because what you're going to do is I'm going to take some bubble wrap, and you're going to put the side where you can feel the bubbles. We're not popping the bubbles as much as you want to. We're not, because then you can't use this again. So you're going to take the bubble wrap, and you're going to put it over top of the areas that you just painted. And you can see here, it's pressing into the paint. And when it dries on here, it's going to create this really cool watercolor effect that when I pull this off, you'll see those marks sort of like that on the paper. You can't just take it off and leave it like that. You need to leave it on, or else it's not going to dry and create that really cool effect. So I'm going to leave this on, and I'm going to take this over to the drying rack. Now my painting is dry, so if I don't want the paint in some areas where it showed up, I could rub it off, but I really don't mind where the paint shows in those areas, so I'm just going to leave it like that. you're going to take your prints from last week. You're going to pick your best out of the prints that you did. And you're going to cut out your one that you did the best job printmaking on. So look for areas where you have the ink showing nicely, the designs. Make sure it's not an area where it moved around and your fish looks like it's moving. Make sure it's not all black ink. That means that you just loaded way too much ink on there. You want it to be something nicely printed. And you're going to pick your best one, I said, out of your prints, and you're going to cut it out. Now I'm going to throw my scraps in the garbage. And I am going to figure out where I want to place my fish on here to be in my sea. Now some of you, your whole fish might not have print, so you should think about if you want it at the edge of paper or where it would look best. Glue around the edges with the stick glue. Don't glue right on the table because we don't want your glue getting on the table or your paper sticking to it. Then when you're done with it, drying rack, fill out a reflection sheet, and then in my gravy bin that should go. Have fun, boys and girls.